The average adult spends more than 8 hours in front of a screen each day. Children spend up to 4 hours. Studies show that sedentary lifestyles put you at risk for disease, even at an early age. But a healthy lifestyle is just a click away. Los Angeles Recreation and Parks provides over 16,000 acres of parkland with parks and lakes, swimming pools, golf courses, skate parks, and dog parks, and more than 180 community recreation centers. A healthy lifestyle is just a click away. laparks.org.
It just takes 1 cup.
Every year, thousands of children in our community drop out of school, they quit on their families, they give up on themselves. But together we can change that.
By sponsoring your child for the cost of 1 cup of coffee a week, you can provide a child with a mentor, a place to play,
And a safe haven like Hollenbeck Power.
With 1 cup, I can play soccer after school.
With 1 cup, it helped me get here to college, preparing for my future.
It just takes a moment to change a child's life. Go to onecup.org and make a difference today.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Today is Tuesday, December 3rd. I'd like to welcome you to your Los Angeles City Council meeting. Madam Clerk, I do believe we have a quorum. Could you please call the roll?
Blumenfeld, Bonham, Buscaino, Cedillo, Englander, Fuentes, Weezer, Carrasco, Corin, Labange, Martinez, O'Farrell, Parks, Price, Wesson. 10 members present, a quorum, Mr. President.
First order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
Englander moves, Correct seconds. Next.
Committee to resolutions for approval.
Fuentes moves, Bonin seconds. That brings us where?
Mr. President, today is Tuesday, and now would be the time for the flag salute.
If everybody could please rise, join us in the flag salute, which will be led by Mr. Buscaino.
With all honor. Right hands over your heart, eyes on our flag, ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Buscaino. Madam Clerk, this would be an appropriate time to run through the agenda.
Items 1 through 27 are items for which public hearings have been held. Mr. President, items 1 through 4 are ordinances and require 12 votes. Would you wish to hold those for 12 members?
No, we'll just vote on them, and then when we get 12, we'll reconsider and vote on them again. What item? Continue or hold? Okay, item 13, we need to refer back to committee. Members, specials, items 1 through 27. Mr. Weezer.
Number 1 special, please.
1 special. Okay, seeing there, Mr. City Attorney.
Mr. President, because item number 5 has an urgency clause requiring 12 votes, I would respectfully request that that matter be held on the desk.
Okay, we will hold item 5 as well. Let's prepare to vote on the other items. Let us please open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay, let's move on. Yes.
The ordinances, items 2 through 4, will be held for 1 week, or
no, we're going to vote on them right now. So why don't you read off those items? We're going to do those and item 5. We will first vote on reconsideration. So read the items that we are reconsidering.
Items 2, 3, 4, and 5 right now.
Okay, so let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, and we did take care of item 5 as well.
Yes, that was reconsideration. Now to vote on the items. Now we're going to
actually vote on the items. So let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, let's move on to the next section.
Items 28 through 38 are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes required for consideration.
Okay, so without objection, those items are now before us. Do we have cards?
Cards on items 28, 29, 31, 32, 35, 37, and 38.
Okay, let's hold those items and prepare to vote on the other item, the remaining items.
Excuse me, Mr. President, there's a request to hold item 33 for an amendment.
Okay, then we'll hold item 33. Any speakers? Seeing none, let's prepare to vote on what is remaining. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Mr. President, there's a request to send item 22 forthwith.
Without objection, forthwith. Mr. Parks.
Shows a no vote on 22 before it goes forthwith.
So did we get that, Madam Clerk?
That item, per the city attorney, would need to be reconsidered.
Oh, it doesn't need to be reconsidered? Dion?
How is Mr. Parks' first vote? It has to be.
I thought it doesn't change the outcome.
It doesn't change the outcome. So
yeah. Why don't we just list him as a no, and let's move on. So again, where are we now, Madam Clerk?
First, Mr. President, just for the record, for item 13, that item will be referred to the Personnel and Animal Welfare Committee.
Okay.
And that takes council to presentations or items called special.
Mr. Labange, you have that look in your eye.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Come on up, Cal Poly. Members, Mr. President, all those out there on Channel 35, including B. Lavery from Mayor Bradley's office. Hey, B. We have a special presentation here for some great students from Cal Poly Pomona. I'm joined by Barry Learman. Right here's the director and lead designer of Cal Poly's Aqueduct Futures Project. For those of you who've crossed the Henry P. Rio Bridge, the bridge that connects City Hall to City Hall East, you'll know this great display which Cal Poly and its team have put together to transform the aqueduct system in many, many ways. Their thoughts, their ideas. Co-designed is Jonathan Linkus, who's here, and also our very own dean of the school there, Mike Wu, as well as others that are here to salute. And I'm going to ask you just to say a few words, if you would, Barry, and tell us about this. And these are ideas that they have, because we all know we love and cherish the aqueduct, celebrating Centennial, the greatest work that Mulholland and his team made. But now, as they look to the future, Cal Poly Pomona has an idea, if that's the correct way. Professor.
Thank you, Councilman Labange. I really appreciate your support and generosity for sponsoring our exhibit. For the past year, my students and colleagues at Cal Poly Pomona have been exploring what the future of the LA Aqueduct can be. And there is a legacy that hasn't been well reported that is a gift to the city. There is about 500 square miles of land that is owned by the city in the Owens Valley and Eastern Sierra that is a resource for all of the citizens of California. And we need to find ways to transform it into something that is more than just a source of our water. The water gave life to the city, and we can also give life back to the Owens Valley. And I really appreciate how much information we have been able to gather and the collaborations we have found. But we can find a more sustainable future for the city by looking at how we can better manage our natural resources, our public resources, our recreational assets, and actually find a way to do more than just extract water from the Owens Valley, because that is actually in the best interest of the city. And so I really appreciate the work of Councilman Labange in advocating for sustainability and supporting having a more sustainable and resilient infrastructure. And so thank you, Councilman, very much, and for all members of the council.
Well, Professor, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And we're going to have a meet with Jim Yanata, the DWP's top person in the Owens Valley. But as students, it's always important not only to do well in the classroom, but well in public speaking. So I want you all to introduce your name and the high school which you came from. Now you're at Cal Poly Pomona.
Hi, I'm Melissa Noriega, and I came from Bell High School.
Good job.
Rosa Soria from Pacifica High School.
Adeline Funes from Marquepo High School.
Louise Lee from Westminster High School.
Michelle Lung from Glen A. Wilson High School.
Alejandro Palacios, Don Bosco Technical Institute.
Bosco, Don Bosco, very good. Let's see why.
Jennifer Wong from Glen A. Wilson High School.
We got them all. And your other professor back there, please help me.
Oh, Jonathan Linkus, I was at USC.
And Crystal Lee, who did all the graphics. Great job.
Our department, Cal Poly Pomona.
Good. So you see, not only from the Cal Poly, they all spread from a high school. And they have great professors, great teachers, and then looking at the land to serve California best, which we're so proud of, the Los Angeles Department of Water Power and the Aqueduct. We want to thank the Broncos from Cal Poly Pomona. Good job, and get a chance to walk across the bridge if you have it right there. And also, I want to talk, when I opened my remarks, thank you, Mr. O'Farrell, I said there's two things you need in life, water and relationships, and water is the aqueduct, but Professor Wu was the relationship. He gave me a call, 1-800-TOM LaBonge, and said, can we have an exhibit at City Hall? Say something, Mike.
Thank you, Councilman Labange, and thank you, Council President Weston, for letting our students and faculty come see city government in action. Thank you.
Thank you, and it's good to see you. All right, thank you, Mr. Labange. Okay, we're going to move to item 28, is it? I have two cards. Mr. Walsh on item 28 and Mr. Herman on item 28. Yes, Mr. Walsh.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org or jwalshconfidential.wordpress.com. Again, this is REAP. I have to say thank you to our guest today, Mike Wu, because he was one of the people responsible for REAP. REAP means, incidentally, folks out there, if your landlord isn't repairing things, go to the city, and the city will take your rent and you'll deposit at the city, not into the landlord's pocket. There aren't too many landlords like that. And Jackie Goldberg, unfortunately, we had to create the anybody but Wu for mayor, but when he ran for council the first two times, we supported him. HollywoodHighlands.org.
Mr. Herman.
Good morning, Los Angeles. Batman Returns. And we're talking about REAP, rent escrow. We're talking about Doug Guthrie of Housing Authority. And we go into question all these cases here. There's multiple ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And as HollywoodHighland.org, John Walsh mentioned, I cannot say any more. It's just an embarrassment that this city has allowed this to go on as it has for these number of years. Have a good day, LA. Hold my time, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's prepare to vote on this item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Okay, Mr. Weezer, are you and Mr. Labange ready to proceed? So the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I'm up here with an alum from California State University, none other than our colleague, Councilmember Tom Labange, and we're here today to present the new president for California State University, Los Angeles, which is in Council District 14, bordering City Terrace, Alhambra, and the city of Los Angeles. We are here to welcome President William Covino. Welcome very much. He was appointed the 7th president on September 1st, 2013. He is the first in his family to earn a college degree, and he understands the importance of education and getting a college degree. Before coming to Cal State LA, Mr. Covino was provost at California State University, Fresno, and during his time there, he supervised Fresno State's 8 schools and colleges and oversaw a campaign which raised over $214 million for the school. Prior to his work at Fresno State, he served as provost for California State University Stanislaus and as dean of the College of Arts and Letters at Florida Atlantic University. He has been a true champion of improving the learning environment for our students. We're very happy to have him here at Cal State LA. And as often been said, we have a great public education system, at one time the envy of the world with our UC and Cal State systems, but we also often overlook how great of our Cal State system is. They prepare many of our leaders for this country and for the world. And so we welcome Mr. Covino as the president there, and we look forward to working with him hand in hand to make not only the city of LA a better place, but to make it a great place for students to get an education. So welcome, Mr. Covino, and here I'm going to present the great alumnus from Cal State University, Mr. Tom Labange.
Thank you very much, Mr. Weezer, and I appreciate those who clapped or wanted to clap. There's nothing like the schools that we came from, and there's nothing like the teachers that we had and gave us an inspiration. And recently, when the president, James Rossiter, he retired, he was the longest serving in the state college system, as you would know, Mr. President. And when he retired, our new president came in his reception, again, you're reunited with your university and you say you want to help a little bit. And Mr. Weezer has been a champion for all things good especially at Cal State University, Los Angeles, and all the work. So I wanted you to come to say hello to us. And also, members, it's so important. These are great beacons of light in our community, whether it's USC, Loyola Marymount, UCLA, Cal State Long Beach, Northridge, Occidental, Cal State Los Angeles, Dominguez Hills. I hope that I didn't miss anybody in between, but I'm sure I did, and I'll hear from them. All these universities have an opportunity to think and educate and respond, just as the Cal Poly students did on the aqueduct. Cal State Los Angeles does many things to make a difference for us. And let me present the president, which is the 31st president, if I have that correct there. The seventh president. I have my number on 31 years. James did 31 years. There we go. Please welcome our president of Cal State Los Angeles.
Good morning, Mr. President, and welcome.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. I'm honored and delighted to be here, and particularly delighted to be the 7th president of Cal State LA and to be leading a great university in a great city. It's notable that Cal State LA was recognized just a few weeks ago and ranked by Washington Monthly, one of our more influential national journals, as among the top 20 universities in the country, master's level universities, for its contributions to the public good. And in addition to that, was ranked number 6 in the country for its success in social mobility. That really reflects how successful we have been in taking the students of Los Angeles, providing them with training that moves them into satisfying and rewarding careers, and creating partnerships with the city and surrounding communities, utilizing opportunities for our students and for the city to create really win-win situations so that we will continue to be an engine for social mobility, an engine for economic and community engagement, and a way of celebrating the success of the city through the successes of our students and their transformation of the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Let's give him another round of applause.
President William Covino, give him a big hand. Cal State University, Los Angeles.
Mr. President, we also have a resolution here welcoming you to the city of Los Angeles and to Cal State LA. So you could proudly display it on your wall in your office so that Alhambra and unincorporated LA doesn't claim you. You're in the city of LA, and we're proud of that. Right. Welcome to the city of Los Angeles, Mr. Covino.
Thank you.
Welcome, Mr. President. What I want to do at this time, Madam Clerk, is I want to take 2 general public comment cards. I'd like to call Donna Pierman and Sean Murphy. I do not see Donna. Sean, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. President. Hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving. I did. I enjoyed the Hollywood Christmas Parade. Thank you. Oh, Van Nuys City Hall is, Marion Fogler, they've got a meeting in Van Nuys City Hall this Friday. Thank you.
Okay, I don't see Miss Fogler. Maybe we could... Mr. Herman, are you here? Would you come and do your general public comment, please? Mr. Herman, are you going to come or are you going to... Just come on.
This morning I was picking up my LA Weekly, and surprised to say, Ron Calderon's strange fallout. But it mentions City being Councilman Jose Huizar, Cedillo, Paul Corretz, and current Mr. Price have all been a part of a FBI investigation. And who else? Maybe Mr. Englander, but I don't know. Los Angeles, this nonsense has to stop. This is why Batman Returns, for justice and the good win by UCLA, right? Yeah. But furthermore, I wish to say on the date of 11/27, Mr. Gregorian said the speaker is subject to be removed. The speaker is subject to be removed. Why? For false words are not only evil in themselves, but infect the soul with evil. I know that I know nothing, Mr. Krikorian. I don't know absolutely
Speak to the
anything.
body.
And at the same manner, I go on to say, for the record, officials of Los Angeles, why have you mocked the public speakers? By your biased, racist activism towards people of the public, your speakers. We come here to speak before you to bring interest of what the gadfly's purpose. The gadfly's purpose. Starting with Aristotle, Plato. But let's go on to say, however, let's not discriminate against me and make your racist remarks. Are you saying that I am unqualified speaker again? As for me, all I know is nothing. I do not know anything. As Mr. Englander pointed out on 11/8/2013, excuse me, that's not pertinent. That's not relevance. That's irrelevance, and it's pointless of what the speaker is saying. He's off subject. He's off topic. Well, remember, an honest man is always a child, and I wear the mask that represents a child. But today I speak about public speaking.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Donna Pearman, please come forward.
Yeah, this is time where we've got to stop and bring back video conferencing to Van Nuys. Ms. Krikorian, is not that easy to get over here in City Hall. I was going over the Woodman bus and one broke down. I had to wait a half hour sitting on the ground because there's no bus stop. And then finally I just barely got over here in City Hall starting off at 8:30. So you tell me that City Hall is accessible. It is not accessible. I go along on the subway, and many spots where I see they say the elevator is broken. So if anybody disabled does not be able to take the escalator, they're stuck down there underground, so being that the elevators were not working. So what you want to really do, it's not about money. This is about shutting people down, not hearing as little voices as possible. You can't do anything about out here because by law you have to open up the doors and let the people in. But you'll find any and whoever whatsoever. So you cut down San Pedro's voices, you shut down the San Fernando Valley, and I'm hearing a lot more people asking, well, I didn't realize that I could go in Van Nuys to do my public speaking in there. And what you want to do is cut us down our ability to speak about the Second Amendment rights. We got terrorists in other countries that can come over here to the United States, and we ought to be able to, people should be able to arm themselves and be able to protect themselves against the terrorists out on the other parts of the country. So, but you take that away too. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, we will continue general public comment in a few minutes. If we could move to item 33, Madam Clerk, we have one card on item 33. Frank? And that's the president of UFLAC, Frank Lima. Good morning, sir, and welcome.
Council President, council members, good morning. Honorable council members, my name is Frank Lehman. I'm the president of United Firefighters of Los Angeles City, Local 112. Standing behind me is a couple of UFLAC board officers and the dispatchers that were honorably working the night of Captain Matthew McKnight's death while he died at Fire Station 4. They resuscitated and made great efforts. Captain McKnight was a true hero in our department and a mentor to hundreds of firefighters who had the honor of working with him. His death came at a difficult time for us as we lost 3 of our brothers within an 18-day period with the passings of Captain Jeffrey Johnson and Captain Mario Martinez as well. I'm requesting that you support Councilmember Bonin's resolution calling for Captain McKnight's family to receive 100% payout of his sick time. It's his own money. We talk a lot about the city family. This resolution would ensure that Captain McKnight's widow and 2 young children are taken care of in his absence as members of the city family. On behalf of the nearly 3,000 firefighters, paramedics, dispatchers, and inspectors we are honored to represent, we thank you in advance for your support. Captain Matthew McKnight was a beloved husband, father, firefighter, and a true brother to all of us in the department. It's our hope that the passage of this resolution will provide a small measure of relief to his surviving family and kids. Thank you very much.
Good to see you, Frank. Mr. Bonin.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, I think that Mr. Lima probably framed this better and spoke more eloquently on this matter than I could. He talked about the heroism and the great service of Matthew McKnight. I don't know if it was a coincidence or not, but the day that he passed away while on duty, Channel 35 was actually doing a broadcast about the Emergency Operations Center where he worked. And it was a series of profiles of the people who worked there, including a feature on Matthew McKnight that day, reminding us on the very day he passed about how hard he worked and what a valuable service he provided to the city of Los Angeles. This motion was originally before us last Tuesday before Thanksgiving, and we postponed it because there was a question about a legal technicality. And it turns out that we approved an MOU with the UFLAC back in November of 2011 that allows us to do exactly this, and it was never incorporated into the Los Angeles Administrative Code. So what we have before us today is a substitute motion that Mr. O'Farrell and I have brought forward that actually asks the city attorney to correct the administrative code as well, so that we don't have this confusion going forward. What this action today would do would allow 100% of the payout of Mr. McKnight's sick time, accumulated sick time, money he had earned to be paid to his widow and his 2 young children. So I'd ask for an aye vote on the amending motion today.
Mr. Labange.
Thank you. Just this correction, which I stand to support, will allow, if there's a tragedy in the future, this would be administratively handled like this, so the trauma of this period would not have to go through. Correct, Mr. Bonin? Thank you. I vote.
Okay, let's prepare to vote on that item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
And that's adopted as amended.
Okay, now, Madam Clerk, I'm informed that we need to vote for reconsideration on item 22. So, members, if you could prepare to vote for reconsideration on item 22, let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Okay, now we're going to prepare to vote on the item. So, Mr. Parks, it's a no vote on your behalf. So let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes, 1 no.
All right.
And, Mr. President, there's a request for that to go forthwith.
Okay, this, Madam Clerk, I didn't hear you. What'd you say?
For item 22, there's a request for it to go forthwith.
Yes, and item 33 as well, is my understanding. So we'll send them both.
And also item 5, there's requests for that to go forthwith as well.
Okay, then without objection. Item 29, I believe called special by cards. Mr. Murphy, Mr. Walsh, and Mr. Ocala. Item 29, Mr. Murphy.
Yeah. I support this item. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Walsh.
John Walsh, blogging at Hollywood Highlands, HIGHLANDS.org, or J. Walsh Confidential. This concerns the Central Library and landscaping of the courtyards and the McGuire Gardens. We're all in favor of this. However, what we're upset about is Dollhouse Dude can tell you, they have a rule that no homeless person can set foot in the gardens. In fact, they're told to go to the Hollywood Library because we don't have services, nearly enough services as we need for homeless. The LA Library in Hollywood is a de facto center for the homeless. Now, I don't mind them watching television. I don't mind them sleeping. I don't mind them talking. But I put that, and incidentally, I want to mention racially what the composition of the homeless is in Hollywood. Call me a racist. It's about 85 to 90% white people, my skin color. Sometimes known as white trash, but I don't use that term. Now, I put my foot down at the library when they started playing cards. The staff is intimidated by them. When the city police come, they deal with it. The other day, the toilet was down, they closed the library. I want to say to everyone in America, do not come to Hollywood. It's filthy. It's full of people. I want to say full of homeless people living in the library.
Mr. President, he's not talking about this contract.
Okay.
Homophobia.
Stay on the contract, John. Mr. Walsh. Mr. Walsh.
Fuck their cock. You know that.
Oh, no, wait a minute. Okay, that's not on subject. Mr. Your time is forfeit. Mr. Akala.
Only 1 minute. Can you hold my other minute? Relative to the proposed agreement with Berrien Central LC Library, being central for the maintenance of the contract, library landscaping and courtyard in Weyer Gardens. To me, the landscaping there would be somewhat better if you gave the homeless people a place to live.
Okay, stay on the subject.
Other than having them at the library. I know, I've been to the...
No, okay, thank you. You're not speaking on the subject. Okay, there are no more speakers on the queue. Let's prepare to vote on this item. Let us open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Okay, next, item 31, which are Mr. Walsh and Mr. Akala again. So on item 31, John Walsh and Juan Akala on item 31. Please stick to the subject.
I pass.
Mr. Walsh passes. Thank you, sir. Mr. Akala. Mr. Akala passes, I would assume. Okay, let's prepare to vote. Let's prepare to vote on this item. Let's open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Okay, now the next item is Mr. Walsh's item 32. And Mr. Akala, item 32.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. This is an extension of a reward for an unsolved murder. First of all, this is exploitation. You do it over and over again. You bring minority people up here. I want to see, when the victim is a white man, I want to see the white family up here. In fact, how many cases of minority victims, murder victims, have the awards been awarded to? They won't tell us that. They refuse to tell us what's going on. This one concerns Dr. Robert Rainey. I'm telling you right now that we have the most important unsolved murder, Mike Gatto's father. You won't bring him up here, and you won't put a reward on here because Gatto said the rewards are a joke. They're a joke on minorities.
Stay on this item, though. This is about Dr. Rainey, Mr. Walsh.
The Ward is a joke. HollywoodHighlands.org.
Thank you, Mr. Now, your time is over.
I will only speak 1
Alcala.
minute. Hold my other minute, Mr.
You just
Herman.
go on and speak.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Herman. That's your real name.
No,
Anyway,
it has nothing to do with the subject. You better speak on the subject.
Okay, I agree. Mr. Welch knows what he's talking about. You don't even care about Mexicans.
No back and forth, Mr. Alcala. Somebody please help that poor man. Mr. Koretz.
Yes, I've just been informed that the family would actually like to be here, and they weren't able to make it today, and they'd like to come on Friday. So if I could continue this item until Friday, that would be preferable.
Surely, without objection.
Thank you.
Oh, wait. It's in, we're in the valley.
Yes.
And that's okay. All right. So then that'll be the order on that. The next item.
Item 35, call special for cards.
On 35, I have Mr. Walsh and Mr. Alcala again. Mr. Walsh passes on item 35. That leaves Mr. Alcala on item 35.
I will only speak 1 minute. You can say my other minute. Motion by Englander and Bonnen relative to the executing amendment to the agreement number G10 UPA 42 California Environmental Protection Agency, Culebra, IPA, extending the term of the grant awarded for March 1, 2014 to August 2014. Do you agree with that item? Do you, sir? Okay, I agree with that item if he does.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, let's prepare to vote on this item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Okay, it's my understanding that we need to now reconsider item 7. We have an amendment, it's my understanding. So let's vote on reconsideration of item 7. And then we'll hold it. We're voting on reconsideration. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Okay, so let's hold that item until they're ready with the amendment. We'll now go to item 1, called special by cards. We are on item 1. Sean, Mr. Herman.
Yes, item 1 is a lien. I am against the liens. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Herman. Yes, Mr. Herman.
Mr. Herman, I agree. I agree that on the motion of what Sean is speaking about, we're talking about housing for every person in Los Angeles. And so the first consideration relative to Mr. Speaker, I'm speaking, please.
No,
to
but you have
amend the
to
Los
stay on the
Angeles
subject,
Administrative
Mr.
Code.
Herman.
May I have the floor back, please?
No, go ahead. Just
Thank
stay
you.
on the subject.
Thank you. Little interruptions just scatter me up a little bit.
No, well, here, hold his time. Mr. Herman, hold his time because I want him to be able to speak. You have to stay on the subject. That's all. That's why you were interrupted. If you don't stay on the subject, then we'll call up the next speaker. So what we want you to do is stay on this subject. So, Mr. Herman, the floor is yours.
Recommendation for councils subject to the approval by the mayor for the mayor to adopt the findings by the director, Department of Planning, attached to the council file number 0923/S2 as the findings of council, to present and adopt the accompanying ordinance of this municipal code, section 22.119, physical impact statement, none submitted by the city attorney, again, none submitted by the city attorney and the Department of City Planning, neither the city administrative officer nor the chief legislative analyst has completed a financial analysis of this report. So, in plain out English, all this jargon has never been resolved. That's the bottom line. And so we've wasted taxpayers' dollars on this report. And I say to you, based on your administration as council members representing the city of Los Angeles, all of you who are taxpayers, keep in mind reports that go unwatched, no transparency, and no accountability. And so in closing, I say, keep the gadflyings going at City Hall. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Akala.
Yes, even though I am brown, I have the memory of a white elephant. I remember Mr. LaBonge in the last meeting speaking out of subject, and you didn't
No,
stop
you
him.
got to speak. We're not going to have this discussion. So speak to item 1 or let the next person speak.
Murals are good for the muralists. They're good for the people watching the mural because we can express a lot of things that you do not let us express in City Hall. So, more power to the muralists.
Thank you. All right.
But you're not going to like my murals because you don't like the people to speak out and to tell you that you're full
Stay
of
on the subject. All right. Thank you. Nina Royal. Nina. Good to see you.
Good morning, council members. My name is Nina Royal. I'm the treasurer of the Sunland Tonka Neighborhood Council, and I am their spokesperson for today. Regarding the murals on single-family housing, we strongly oppose because it will lose the integrity of the community. I do have a long letter here. However, I'm not going to bore you with the details. You can go back and look it up for yourself. It's regarding Council File 11-0923-02, and we agree with Pacific Palisades on that stand. So please do not allow murals in residential areas. Thank you very much.
No, thank you very much. Okay, Mr. Weezar.
Thank you, Mr. President. And colleagues, this item here is a follow-up from when we passed our mural ordinance, wherein the issue of single-family homes, there are some council districts that wish to have them and others did not. This amendment will allow murals in single-family homes in council districts 1, 9, and 14. This also contains a provision that was brought up to us by the fire department, which wanted us to include some language that would not allow any murals on windows for safety reasons, paint, etc. So it includes that provision in here, and I ask for an aye vote. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Bonin, followed by Mr. Price.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I have a question. I think it must be for the city attorney's office. Thank you. How you doing? Just want to remind folks, I'm a very strong advocate of this ordinance, a very big supporter of murals, and I think that the agreement that the council reached when we approved the ordinance was a very good one. It was judicious, it was balanced, and it tried to address the concerns of neighborhoods that wanted murals and those that didn't. There are some council districts that aren't as unanimous as CD1 and CD9 and CD14. Mine was one of them, where most of my communities didn't want them on single-family residences, but there's significant sentiment in Venice for them on single-family residences. And so the council, when we voted, instructed that there be an expedited opt-in or opt-out process, depending on which zone you were in. And I don't see that here. Why is that?
Well, I did look into that, and there was a joint meeting of Plum and the Arts Committee, and for the purpose of addressing that, it didn't come up, but I'll address it now. It would require an extreme amount of money and time, and also raise potential First Amendment issues to do it on a case-by-case basis. There were suggestions. It depends upon how it's structured. There was one suggestion that you have a poll requirement, and you get signatures from your neighbors. There's concerns about delegation of authority for a governmental decision.
Well, I believe that we're confusing two separate things.
Okay.
There were two separate issues that were
Yes.
discussed at council. One was for a neighborhood or a community to opt in to having
Yes.
the same single-family provision as CD 1s, 9, and 14 would have in
Yes.
this ordinance. Then there was the other issue, which was a community approval process. Those were two separate and distinct things.
Yes, yes, they were.
I'm asking about the former.
Well, the former, the opt-in, I did do research on that, and I have consulted with the planning department. It would require an extreme amount of money and time to do that. Depending upon, it would be possible, I suppose, for us to draft that. The direction that I had from the joint committee was to do the so-called pilot programs for 1, 9, and 14, which is the ordinance before you. If you would like to pursue the opt-in scenario, we could do that in consultation with planning.
My feeling is I've voted for a compromise in council, and one element of that compromise that made it attractive to me is missing. So I won't try to hold this up today, but I would ask that there be a report back in short order on the various options for expedited opt-in and opt-in and opt-out, including a streamlined community design overlay or something like that, where rather than opening up a community design overlay to every potential issue,
Yes.
it's just specific to the mural thing. I really feel like the commitment I made to my pro-mural constituents is missing from this. I won't try to oppose this today, but I would like a report back on those options and an insistence that we do move forward.
I understand, Councilman. I'll work with planning on that.
Then I'd like to make a motion that we do that and that report is 45 days too short?
I believe we can do it in 45 days. That's fine.
Mr. Weezer, are you good with that?
Yes, thank you. And Mr. Bonin, we had the full intention as the chair of the Planning, Land Use, and Management Committee to bring that item forward at some point, but we were told by the City Attorney's Office that this CD 1, 9, and 14 was a matter of drafting a paragraph as opposed to doing actual research, having several meetings with departments. That would be a lot more cumbersome, so we thought we'd bring this item forward first. They just had to quickly draft this up. They didn't see any problems with it, so that's why this came before that. But we have the full intention of hearing that item in the joint committee again and bringing it forward to council.
Great.
Okay.
And my final question was, is this the first time we've done an ordinance with carve-outs for specific council districts?
I don't know. It's the first time that I've done that, and it was done because it was something that could be done very quickly as opposed to having an overlay or a specific plan.
Yeah, and I'm absolutely fine with that. I do want to note that we are doing
Check
it. And
the time, Mr. Bonin.
It's something that I suspect I may try to avail myself of in CD11. Perhaps when we're doing development incentives, Mr. Koretz and I may want to have a carve-out in our districts, which are overdeveloped, to make sure that we're not further incenting something that's good in other districts.
Mr. Price.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I stand in support of the motion as amended. Again, I think certainly our community supports the value of murals, and this provides some flexibility and an opportunity for those who choose to embrace this expression on their own private properties to do so. Certainly to the concerns raised by Mr. Bonin and others, and I certainly am also agreeable and supportive of a more comprehensive approach. However, this does carve out 3 areas that are unequivocal in their support of this process, and I urge my colleagues to approve it at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Blumenfield.
Thank you, Mr. President. With similar comments to what Mr. Bonin said, and I also am not going to oppose this. I had concerns with the single-family homes, but part of the compromise that I voted for included, what I initially brought forward was an amendment to deal with the opportunity for folks to be able to poll their neighbors in some fashion and have that be part of the process, so that there would be opportunities for folks who wanted to have murals on a single-family residence, but were the general community didn't want that. And that was supposed to be, if we avoid the interruptions from out there, that was supposed to be as part of this report, and I heard what you said to Mr. Bonin, and I just want to clarify that other portion, he was talking about the overlay portion, but the portion that I was concerned about in terms of polling the neighbors will also be in a future report, because that was important to me to see that as part of that. So if I have your commitment that that's still in the works, then I'm happy to support this and move forward.
Thank you, Mr. Blumenfield. Mr. Weezer, are we ready to move forward, or do you want to close?
Yes, I'd like to close, Mr. President. So we will hear those items on the Joint Committee and bring that forward as soon as possible. And I was told by our city attorney, I need to read this into the record. The amendment that was made, the changes made by the city attorney at the request of the fire department was in Section 2, Subsection 6 of Subsection D of Section 22.119, where it says, no mural except for murals consisting completely of paint. The language we're deleting is except for murals consisting completely of paint. That's being deleted at the request of the fire department.
Thank you. Okay, let's prepare to vote on this item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes, 1 no.
Okay, Mr. Herman, you're going to have to quit clapping. I'm warning you in advance. It is a disruption, so please don't do that any further. We're going to go to item 7.
Excuse me, Mr. President,
yes.
for item 1, that
37.
That ordinance will be held for 1 week for a second reading.
On which item 1?
Item 1, yes.
Okay. So let's go to Juan Acala and Mr. Herman, I believe. Item 37, Mr. Acala and Mr. Herman. Go on.
All right. My argument on this subject is what happens at Christmas time? Everybody has murals on windows all over the city.
But this is not about the murals. No, we just finished with that.
In it, but I wasn't called.
No, you didn't have a card. So anyway, thank you. On this item, you have to speak to item 37.
Oh. Housing element of, you still had it up there, that's why.
Well, I'm sorry about that, Mr. Acala. Okay, now if we could have Mr.
Okay,
go ahead, give it a go.
Relative to the authorization of the use of the City Hall Rotunda during the December. Yeah, that's a good thing. I mean, people need their spaces, they pay for them. Why shouldn't they be able to use their spaces for doing public events? It makes sense. Use the rotunda. Use the whole city. Don't ask city council for permits. Why? We are the people. If we want to have a party at the rotunda, we should be able to. Excuse me, city council, you do not rule the world.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Herman. Item 37.
Here we're speaking about authorizing the Department of General Service to use the rotunda. And what a great way of expressing Los Angeles. You can express, for example, critique or critic during the rotunda because of the acoustic sound. So why not? We have Christmas tree decorations such as, I can't pronounce the word here, Hanakuna, and you got Kawalazana. Las Posaditas, La Ramadian, and others. So they're all appropriate. And I'm going to bring my decorations, like my Batman hat, so I can add to the liveliness of the Christmas tree, because Christmas should be for everyone. We're all delighted to have Christmas ornaments in the rotundra. Let me get it straight. Relative to authorizing the Department of General Services to use of the City Hall rotundra. Because again, gathering is for the gadflies. Gathering is for the public. And whenever there's a public event, you are all invited. When you come to City Hall, you don't need an ID. You just simply say, under the Brown Act, I'm going to this particular event.
Stay on the subject, Mr. Herman. No, you're not. So let's stay on the subject.
In the rotundra, or if there's a room number, you cite council chambers, and you come with your ornaments for the specific symbols of holidays to celebrate. And we can decorate with candles, popcorn. I don't know what else you put on Christmas trees.
Come on,
I don't have
Mr.
one. I
Herman.
can't afford a Christmas tree. But I was delighted when we put the Christmas tree out here in the park, the big white one in the middle of the park. So again, every event like this, the city, the public, all of you in Los Angeles, you should pay for it. It's a public event. And the public deserves to have Christmas trees placed in their trunk, as long as you don't trip and get hurt like the
Okay,
gentleman
Mr.
fell.
Herman, thank you. I try to give you flexibility, but you wouldn't stay on this. Sergeants. Okay, let's prepare to vote on this item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
Okay, are we now we move to item 38, which was called special by cards. Mr. Walsh and Mr. Alcala. Does Mr. Alcala have time? Mr. Alcala has no more time. Mr. Walsh on item 38.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. Number 38, you always have to be suspicious when it comes in, the agenda item at the end, and there's no explanation. This says final maps in the various council districts. That's the whole city, all 4 million people. I address the people out there. Do you have any idea where your property is on the map? Do you know how you're zoned? Do you know if there's any, whether they've lifted the zoning requirements, especially for your neighborhood? This is what you have to do. You have to call your city councilman and ask him for your map. Because once they pass this 15-0, if they start building a mini mall in your neighborhood, you're going to have to hire a lawyer. This is sneaky, sneaky, sneaky. Final maps. HollywoodHighlands.org.
Thank you. Okay, let's prepare to vote on this subject. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
Okay, Mr. Walsh and Mr. Alcala, I'm going to move quickly to do some more general public comment. So, Mr. Alcala, you're right there. You can go first. And Mr. Walsh, you can come right after Mr. Alcala. So this is general public comment.
Only 1 minute?
No. Go ahead.
Well, 1 minute would have been enough because the whole city stinks. But I'm not going to say that. We just know it does. And you keep calling it the beautiful city of Los Angeles. I almost trip every day on the sidewalks. I almost put my bicycle tire as I'm riding into the cracks where I can fall and break my neck. And you would probably be happy with that because you don't like people to speak the truth. The truth is, you guys can speak out of subject anytime you want, and we can't, and we cannot stop you from doing your shenanigans, but you can stop us from being free human beings. You impose taxes that are unbelievably cruel and unusual punishment. You will throw little old ladies out on the street because they didn't pay their city tax, their county tax, their state tax, their IRS. Pure BS. If we're all paying into the system, why don't we have the services? You do not even have toilets in the metro system. Hello, we are people, and we will go do our necessities in the library if we have to, outside the library if you got it closed. Hello, it's only natural that what goes in must come out, right? And I've been told I'm a powerful speaker, but I want to tell you everything like a clown, because otherwise you'll go after my ass. And my ass does stink because I don't wash that often.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Walsh, followed by Richard Robinson.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. Big hello to you. You're under FBI investigation. A big hello to the undercover FBI agent behind me. Why no reward? Mike Gatto's father was murdered. Weeks and weeks have passed by. No reward. It's as if they didn't want to find who did it. It's as if they didn't. Okay, Glenn Dake, take a look. Now, since I came here and exposed Glenn Dake as the man who got Renee Dake, his sister, a job, an appointment to the Planning Commission, and some say it's because he's sleeping with the mayor. Now, let me tell you what happened to me once I said that Wednesday. No one disagreed. You try to strike it from the record. Okay, my great-great-great-grandfather fought in the Revolutionary War so I could call King George an asshole. And I am now going to take full of it. I'm not talking to the black people out here because you were brought here as prisoners and kidnapped. I'm talking to all the white and brown people who came here because they wanted to be here. If you don't like the First Amendment, go to hell. Okay, there's a virus on my website. Immediately, I have spent the last 5 days fighting viruses on my website. Why was it put there? Because I put the picture of the mayor's boyfriend on my website. Everybody knows it. I'm asking anybody to come up to me and say, John, you're insane. It isn't. There's no such thing. He is not the mayor. Glenn Dake, come to my website. See if you can get through. If you can't get through, try jwalshconfidential.wordpress.com. I have people. I'm going to keep this website up. Okay, just let the mayor say he only sleeps with his wife, and I'll take it down. HollywoodHighlands.org.
Okay, Richard. Mr. Labange.
For the public who watch Channel 35, all of us respond to the Los Angeles Police Department and detectives requesting reward motions. The Los Angeles Police Department Robbery Homicide Division is vigorously investigating the Gatto tragedy, and we will follow their request at such time. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Robinson.
Mr. President, members, the most important birth in history is about to be celebrated. Sir, the Christmas trees, Andy Williams, Johnny Mathis on our PA systems in our malls, jingling bells, delicious foods, December 25th, perhaps one of the most magnificent economic booms in our history is, but we are laying aside the material. Let's look at the spiritual aspects of the birth of the most important person on the planet Earth, Jesus Christ. His name we all know. So let us not forget the reason for the season. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Richard. Okay, we will go back to item 7, and then we'll finish the remainder of our general public comment. So, item 7.
An amending motion 7A has been circulated.
Okay, Mr. Blumenfield, you just want us to vote? Okay, on item 7, let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
15 eyes.
Madam Clerk, anything else on the agenda? Can I just go back to general public comment, or? No, I didn't see any. Okay, so now I have a Corey. Is it Duprius? Please come forward. Cadane? Come on up, sir.
Good morning.
Go right ahead.
Hi, my name is Corey Dupuy. I would like to talk about the homeless problem in Los Angeles. The main issue with the homeless is that it goes back to them having trouble to find steady employment. And I feel like there should be some sort of citywide work program that involves some sort of public service or sanitation work in return for, in exchange for any, like, I guess, food vouchers or low-cost housing. And that is all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Burke, no, you follow. In fact, Mr. Cadane, could you allow Mr. Burke, come on, because you've been waiting patiently. Please come forward. And Sergeant, can we give him his own mic if he chooses?
Yes, thank you. Hello, my name is Andrew Burke. I'm one of the attorneys at Disability Rights California. I'm commenting on item 17, which is the housing element, and the reason that I did not get on the comments for that item was that we received horribly inadequate notice that this item was coming before the city council. For today, that notice consisted of an email yesterday, and if you look around you, I am the only representative of the public interest community here. Also, I provided you with a copy of our comments on this item. I have also emailed and mailed a copy to each of you. We thank the city for the progress that is made, but we still believe that the current housing element is not in compliance with state law and has not incorporated our comments. Thank you.
No, thank you, sir. Thank you. Mr. Cadane, please come forward. Yes, sir. Welcome. And if you could pronounce your first name for me.
Kidane.
Okay.
Good morning, everybody. I guess what I want to complain today in this august body is about the Los Angeles Parking Violation Bureau. This agency is flexing its muscle on the public because it almost enjoys complete immunity from court oversight. What I mean by that is last time I got issued a citation on my vehicle. It is, I think, a mistake citation, and I contested it because they cited me for not having a plate number, but I have that temporary plate number on the window shade, and they can see it. And I contested it. I ended up losing, which I shouldn't. That outraged me because it's unfair. So by me, like immunity from court's oversight, by that what I mean is like even though you can contest, you end up not winning, even though it's a giveaway winning case. So what I think is like the city governing body, which includes this council, among others, must issue an oversight on this unruly agency, how it treats people, and they must do a random check on the issue of citations. Thank you.
No, thank you, sir. Okay, now I have one final card. Did somebody sign a card? Myself and I can't make it out. It's signed myself and okay, I don't see anybody that's responding to that name, Mr. City Attorney. That concludes our general public comment. Madam Clerk, where are we now? Nina, I didn't see a card from you on general public comment. Here, come forward. Is this Nina's?
Yes, because she scratched it out. I was busy and talking. I put it on the wrong line, crossed it out. I'm sorry.
Go right ahead.
Good morning again, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Nina Royal, and I am speaking on behalf of my community. I'm also a director on the Sunland Tujunga Chamber of Commerce, as well as on the Land Use Committee of the Sunland Tujunga Neighborhood Council. And my subject is SB 1818. The City of Los Angeles needs to do something to remedy what they have done with SB 1818 and how it's affecting all the communities within the City of Los Angeles, not just Sunland Tujunga. There's no such thing as one size fits all. Where they come up with statistics that say that a community needs X amount of housing, I have no idea, because they don't fit my community. They should not be putting huge projects on substandard sized streets without adequate parking and where it does not fit the neighborhood. These things need to be remedied. I can't understand why anybody on the city council would think that one size fits all. Each neighborhood and each incident has to be looked at independently, because what they're doing with Sunland Tujunga and the Samoa project is just unconscionable. How can you have only 81 parking spaces for a project that has, I think, 18 four-bedroom apartments, three-bedroom apartments, and there is no parking anywhere? It's a disgrace. It's a travesty. This needs to be remedied. I don't care where the money comes from or whether you're going to be losing money or what have you. It should not happen. And this is all the communities throughout the City of Los Angeles. And one more subject, SB 1818 is the primary one. The second one that I want to talk about is housing and 501c3s. Every 501c3 in the City of Los Angeles that has to do with housing ought to be audited. We had a health fair in Sunland Tujunga about 3 weeks ago, and I have a family member that is an extended family that is homeless. I took all the information from every one of those tables.
Thank you, Nina. Thank you very much. Okay, Madam Clerk, where are we on the agenda?
Council has motions for posting and referral.
Okay, they are posted and referred.
That clears the desk.
Okay, announcements. Members, Mr. Cedillo.
Members, I apologize for being late today, but I spent the morning at the offices of CHIRLA, the Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights of Los Angeles, and I am participating in a fast and joining a group of fasters in Washington, D.C., who are fasting for immigration reform. 11 million Americans exist in this country without legal status. They are waiting, and their families are waiting for immigration reform. We are closer than we have ever been. If we get a vote, it will pass. And so we are fasting so that we can urge the Congress and the leadership to move forward and have this vote. We're calling upon the President to use all his political talent and political capital, his skills, to move this forward. We have deported more people, 2 million, than any other administration in the history of this nation. And that means 2 million families have been divided, families which have U.S.-born citizens as part of their family. And so we met today. There are about 50 young men and women, young boys and girls, who are participating in this fast today and joining others in Washington, D.C., who have been fasting for 21 days and calling upon the Congress to move this legislation forward for a vote, up or down, so that we can bring our country together and finally have comprehensive immigration reform in our country.
Thank you, Mr. Cedillo. Any other announcements? Members, if everyone in the council chambers could please rise for adjourning motions. If everyone could please rise. Please rise. Okay, I'm going to look to Mr. Fuentes' side of the aisle. Do we have any adjourning motions on my left? Okay, now to Mr. Krikorian's side. Any adjourning motions? Mr. Parks.
Thank you very much. I'd ask that we adjourn in memory of Marcellus Elaine Meshach, affectionately known as Marcy. He was born October 1944 in Houston, Texas, and passed away November 2013. At her early age, Marcy moved with her family to Santa Monica, California. Shortly thereafter, the family relocated to San Diego, where she received her religious training and accepted Jesus Christ as her personal Savior. During her formative years, Marcy attended Logan Elementary and Memorial Junior High School and was a member of the athletic club there. She graduated in San Diego High School in June 1962. She enjoyed music, loved to dance with her older sisters, Edna and Janice, who were all famous for doing the cha-cha. After graduating high school, Marcy moved to Los Angeles and set her career goals to become an elementary school teacher. Early on, Marcy obtained employment as a teacher's aide with the Los Angeles Unified School District. She transferred and graduated from the California State University at Los Angeles. Shortly after graduation, she became an elementary school teacher and continued dedicating her professional life to the education and well-being of numerous inner-city children. Marcy remained with the LA Unified until she retired. In '67, she met Clarence Evans. The young couple united in 1970, and on August 28, 1973, they were blessed with a son, Cody Mark Evans. Marcy was fond of gardening, spent many hours of her plants and flowers. Throughout her illness, she was surrounded by the warmth and love of numerous family members. Marcy was preceded in death by her husband, Clarence, and is survived by her son and daughter-in-law.
Thank you, Mr. Parks. Any more? Members, this meeting is adjourned.